All right.
Hello, everyone.
People are still coming in.
Yeah, we still have a lot of people still joining here. So welcome everybody to our second presentation of the World Scout Jamboree Poland 2027. We're just going to get everything set up here and give people a few minutes to join in so that everybody's able to join us tonight. I don't know if this is going to work. I can try it.
We had lots of suggestions last week on music you could use, so.
I don't know if you hear this.
No, we can't hear that.
Oh, of course not. All right. It's the Eurovision Poland entry I was trying to share there.
Did not work out.
Never mind. Something for next time. All right, we're about 50 right now, so we'll keep going here. One thing I will say is we do have a lot of people in this meeting. We're going to be presenting you a lot of information. I'm sure you will have a lot of questions as we're going through all the different content we're going to be presenting. Hopefully you'll notice that there's a Q&A button. There's a chat button, but the Q&A button is the best place for you to go in and submit your questions. You can do so as yourselves, or if you would prefer, you can submit your questions anonymously, and we'll try to go through during the call the different answers that we can provide to you, or at least some clarification for the items we can't. And if you would like, at the very end, we're going to have a Q&A session as well, where if we don't answer it in the Q&A section, we'll try to do it live, and we'll give you a chance also to ask your questions with your microphone, if you would like, now that we know we just have to elevate you to a presenter to be able to do so. So please keep the questions and answers coming in as they occur to you. Don't need to wait until the end, just so you don't lose your train of thought as we go through.
Perfect. All right. So just of note, everything that we're presenting tonight is the identical presentation that we did last week. The idea behind these presentations is that this week we can connect with people across Canada in different time zones and not just at 4 p.m. For the BC people. We can then get you guys onto a call at a little bit of a better hour that works for you. It will be similar in the month of June. So welcome to our second Canadian Contingent Information Session for the World Scout Jamboree taking place in Poland 2027. We will be giving you basic information about the Jamboree and Jamboree life. And then this presentation is being done in English. However, we will be putting the presentation up on our Facebook page. And also we will be providing all of the questions and answers, and the transcript will be translated so that you'll be able to share it with anybody who requires it in French. So this is being done, as Jeff said, this is being done in webinar mode. So for this reason, we ask that you put your questions in the Q&A and we will work on responding. We will also be using those question and answers to build our frequently asked questions. No question is a dumb question. Every question is beneficial to somebody else on the call or somebody who's looking for information that's not on these calls. In June, we will be hosting 3 information sessions. So one will be fully bilingual and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Ottawa, 7 p.m. Ottawa time. One will include the western part of Canada, which will be 7 p.m. Pacific time. So the same time as tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then one will be fully in French in order to ensure that our French members and potential participants can obtain all the information they need without any translation errors. Un peu de français. Bienvenue à la deuxième séance d'information du contingent canadien pour le Jamboree Scout mondial qui aura lieu en Pologne en 2027. La présentation sera faite en anglais ce soir. Cependant, d'ici la fin de la semaine, peut-être, nous aurons la présentation française et la présentation en anglaise publiée sur le groupe Facebook. It's very important that you follow that Facebook because that Facebook will have key information on there. En juin, votre équipe de gestion de contingent tiendra 3 séances d'information. L'une sera bilingue. On aura lieu à 19 heures, heure normale d'Est, c'est à Ottawa. Une autre pour la partie ouest du Canada à 19 heures, heure du Pacifique. Et une autre sera en français afin de s'assurer que nos membres et participants potentiels français puissent obtenir toute l'information dont ils ont besoin sans trop d'erreurs de traduction. Also on our call tonight, we have one of our deputies for the ASC, deputies from the ASC on our call. So if there are questions that come in French, please ask them in your language of your choice, and we will ensure that you get your response in the language of your choice. So for this particular, for our tonight, we have 2 presenters tonight. However, for June, we will have all of our CMT doing a bit of a presentation, so you'll get to see all of their faces. We're just solidifying a few of those members this week, so we weren't able to announce them all. That will happen later on this week, and you'll get to put faces to all the names and be able to really understand who's going to make this adventure amazing for our Canadian members. And so the other presenter for tonight, I think that's the next slide. I have them all out of order now. So I'm Susie James. I'm your head of contingent for this, for the Canadian contingent headed to Poland. And one of our deputies is Jeff Reed. So he is on our call tonight. He'll be presenting part of the presentations. Our other 2 deputies are actually on the call tonight. Is Rob Ramsden and then Manon. And so those are our three deputies and myself. I won't label everybody else because those will come at our next call, and you'll also be able to see those on our Facebook group. So again, please follow that and look for that announcement. So what is a Scout Jamboree? What is a World Scout Jamboree? A World Scout Jamboree is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for our young people. So your 14 to 17-year-olds. It happens every 4 years, which really drives home to these youth that there's that one opportunity between the ages of 14 and 17, or just before 18 and just after you turn 14. Those ages are very important, and we will talk about them on another slide. But on this particular adventure, you're going to be camping with 46,000 other people. It's going to become a little mini city with 170 countries represented and 46,000 people. So the one thing to keep in mind with this particular event this time around is Poland has actually capped the participation at 46,000. They won't be accepting more than that, which means every country has to look at their numbers. And once we send those numbers in, our best guess, that will be what we are held to. There's not going to be the same, they're not looking to have the biggest jamboree. They are looking to have one of the best jamborees with the most opportunities for young people. So bravely is their slogan for this particular event. Go bravely, take on adventures in a brave manner. This particular slogan did change. If you had seen some of the initial information on the Jamboree back in 2011 and 2015 when they first started bidding, it was about being the spark and the spark makers. They have since moved on to using this word bravely as their main logo. You're going to see this on every piece of merchandising and publicity that they put out has this slogan on there. And the other picture you see on your screen is approximately where you're going to be going for this particular event. You will be in just outside the city of Gdansk, right on the Baltic Sea. So your dates for this event, so the dates that you see on the screen are the dates for the actual event. There's another slide that we'll get to that will detail in a little bit further on the dates you'll be expected to arrive. But the actual event runs from the 30th of July until the 8th of August. Gdansk is very beautiful, the area. We are right on the Baltic Sea. There's a beach right across the road. We are in a great big field, as you can see, and a good 20-minute drive into the city. So it's not too far, but still just a beautiful area on the outskirts. Our pre-camp team is working on some plans right now, and that pre-camp will be currently somewhere in Europe. We are unsure exactly where we will end up, but we will be utilizing that expression of interest and the people that register in the first round of registrations to kind of garner some of those ideas as to what's a great idea and where people want to go. The youth voice is going to be, the youth voice is very important to us. So this is the slide where it talks about when the ISTs will need to arrive. The ISTs will need to arrive at the Jamboree on the 27th. And as a contingent, we manage all that travel. So that's not something, that'll be something that our travel team will be speaking of at a future meeting. But currently those are the dates. You will arrive on the 27th, and the event actually starts on the 30th, with the youth arriving on site on the 29th. That's after their pre-camp is over. They will then arrive at the site on the 29th. So it's an exciting time for the ISTs because they have full run of the campground. They get to set up, they get to do their training. There's usually a big IST party that happens on one of those nights before all the youth get there. It's their thank you style night for being there. It can be quite an exciting time. And then we get into all the different other ceremonies when it comes to opening, and then there's an interreligious ceremony, and then subcamp programs. For anybody who was at a previous Jamboree, subcamps have their own programming, so they have their own evening program and their own evening program. They'll also have stuff that you can go get if you just want to go and play in one of the fields. There's lots of great opportunities for that. And then modular program, which is your day program, whether it's offsite or onsite, happens during the day. There will be arena events and a closing ceremony. What that arena event is still being determined. The other thing that's not on this particular calendar right at the moment is going to be Culture Day, which is a great time for our units to showcase something really cool about Canada. And each unit will be tasked to come up with those ideas and figure out how to best showcase Canada. And then afterwards is, as you can see, the departure times are varied, whether you're a youth, patrol leader, or an IST. Those dates do vary because we do need our ISTs to help to tear down the camp and do cleanup and other pieces that need to happen after such an amazingly large event happens. You'll also see on this particular slide that optional post-travel, we are working out with the travel agency that you will have the opportunity to do your own travel afterwards. We had about 80 people take us up on that for Korea. So the idea there is you would be responsible for doing all of your own other bookings. We would get you back to the train station or the airport, and then you're on your own, but we will have booked your flights to get you home from wherever you are going to be. That will still be worked out with the travel agency, but we aren't organizing the post-Jamboree travel except for the flight itself. But it is a great opportunity to see the country, really enjoy and take in all the pieces that you probably won't be able to take in as much of during the event itself. This gives you a great overview of the actual Jamboree site. So that water tower that we saw in the zoom in video is right where just in the forest, just off the beach area. And then I'm not sure if you can see that super well, but the idea on the photo is you can see where the IST subcamp is, where the main arena is, and where all the subcamps are. So the subcamps are divided by colors. So you have green, purple, yellow, and orange. So those are the 4 subcamps that they are utilizing. And then bus terminals, there'll be a helipad and a hospital area. and then the main arena. So there's when you get into Jamboree Plaza and World Scout Center, you're really looking at where your trading post is going to be, where your global sustainment development um, that area is. They have some booths. There'll also be a WOSM booth in there for the World Organization of the Scouting Movement. And that's also where you're going to find all the food houses. So our Canadian contingent will have a food house in there, as will about probably 40 other countries. And also our Canada House. So all the countries that want to have their own pavilions where they're showcasing stuff about Canada to the rest of the campground, that's where they would be. And to give you one last note, the Jamboree Plaza and World Scout Center, the Welcome Center, those are areas that the public can go to. So if you're coming in, if somebody's coming in as a visitor, those are the areas that they are allowed to be in. They don't go out to the subcamp areas. The subcamp areas are only for youth, or the IST subcamp is only for ISTs. So our visiting programs would be just in that Welcome Center and the Jamboree Plaza and World Scout Center area. This gives you a little bit of basically what we just talked about is subcamp programming to happen on your free time. There will be a solidarity badge in 2019. You could earn a certain award. They are coming up with a solidarity badge. So this is about learning about other cultures, meeting new people, and just gaining all of that knowledge you get from a World Scout Jamboree. There's also, as many of us know, there's badge trading, outdoor social time, there's talent shows, there's large board games and yard games, and just it is a great time in the subcamp areas. And then your modular program, they have approximately 800 activities that are going to happen that the Scouts will be able to choose from. And your 4 main themes are aqua, physical, social, and the forest. Kind of gives you a pretty easy idea of where at least 2 of those will be happening. And then the Plaza program. So again, as I mentioned, each country has a hub to run their own activities. So Canada is, we have a team put together to look at what our hub is going to be and what we want to showcase and what our activities are going to be. And then there will be a dedicated international day to showcase cultures. That's where Culture Day comes in. So those of you on the call that participated or saw what a Culture Day was last time, it really can be amazing. And we want to see Canada showcase what they can for this event. Also, there will be events exploring the theme Bravely. Unsure what those will be right now, but we will gain more information, I'm sure, over the summer. And then there is going to be a special Jamboree board game and a UN model debate. So you could, I'm not sure if you saw on the previous slide where it talked about the schedule. There's a youth forum. That's where a bit of that model UN debate will come into play. Is they do have some people coming into the Jamboree to do this with the youth, which is a great opportunity for them. We need the next slide. Maybe it's not going to go.
Should be showing.
It just says Canadian contingent.
Well, yeah, it's your chance to introduce our next section here.
Oh, I'm like, which one is this? There we go. So basically, we are one of the only countries that has a dual NSO. So we have l'Association des Scouts du Canada and Scouts Canada. So we're a dual NSO working together in partnership for this event. Everything that we do will be either translated or completely bilingual to happen from here on. So we will, as I said in the beginning, have separate webinars and also have a joint webinar so that everybody is fully inclusive and that we are keeping everything, making sure that everybody has the information that they need in every format that they need to feel included. And then within our overall, we have our CMT. So within our CMT, we have a manager for program, which is our Canada House and our Culture Day. And then we have a lead for logistics and shipping and kit. Somebody will be looking after health and safety and culture and well-being. There'll be a full support team, somebody managing pre-camp, somebody managing travel. We are currently looking at a CMT of 14 members, which sounds large, but it's really not. That's really a tough one to get through with the amount of people that we want to attend. But the higher the youth numbers, the larger the support team that we can create at the CMT level. And then the basic structure for each particular unit is a patrol of 9 youth and 1 patrol leader. And then when you put 4 patrols together, you get a whole unit of 40 people. So within that, your number of 40 won't change. If we need to add a second or third scouter or an extra PUL into there, that comes off the youth number. So if we need to put 2 extra PULs and now we have 6 PULs, well, that brings the number of youth down to 34. It's doable. What the Jamboree is looking for this time is reasons for carers. So we would have to tell them what the reason behind those carers, not with every detail, but to be able to ensure that they are able to have proper support systems in place for those patrols that have needs. And then lastly, but not lastly, because they make the entire Jamboree experience happen, is our international service team. So these are all of our adult volunteers who are running program, who are running security, running the trading post, out there running the Global Sustainment Village, just so many things. When you go in and you get your your scarves and your badges, in the Welcome Center, those are all people who are your international service team members. They are going to be all over the campground. They are going to help make this happen. And without them, we don't really have a Jamboree. So we thank everybody who signs up to do that job. It can be somewhat thankless, but with a good structure that they are looking at, there will be time off. There will be an IST program being looked at so that people can get off site. People can take in some of that program as well. So it's I'm excited to see what they come up with to better support those international service team members with the ability to take in some of that really cool programming that they have. So this is always the tricky one, especially with 2009 and 2013 babies. So basically, if you were born before July 30th of 2009, then you're an adult when the event starts, which means you're not a youth. So you have to register as an international service team member or as a patrol unit leader. Now you're applying for the position. So as a patrol unit leader, you're applying. We then go through a full screening and interviews and selection process to decide who fits in the patrol unit leader aspect, because we don't have enough for those people. We will have more applications than we have spots for when it comes to patrol unit leaders. It could be similar in the ISTs. That's why it is an application process. We do need to do our proper screening, but that's a hard deadline. We can't change that. We can't move it. It's under Child and Youth Safety and Safe from Harm and WSM's rules. You're 18, so you're an adult. If you are in between those ages, you are one of the lucky ones who gets to join as a participant. So you will be between the ages of 14 and you will be under 18, so 14 to 17. So you're able to register as a participant. And if you are younger than that age, you get to go to Denmark. Hopefully you decide to go to Denmark in 2031. So you would be too young to qualify for this one, but you could attend Denmark in 2031 because that bid was won by them for that year. So those are hard and fast eligibilities by the World Organization of the Scouting Movement. There aren't any exceptions, and you need to be an active member of Scouts Canada or l'Association in order to attend. We do have both NSOs will vet the entire registration listing, so we do need to ensure that everybody is an active member. So I kind of went through this. Your patrol unit leader is someone who leads up to 9 youth. It could be, as I mentioned earlier, we could take 2 patrol unit leaders and only 8 kids in a patrol, there are different ways that we will manage it based on the needs of the unit and of the patrol. If there are direct needs that we need to look after, then we will take those into consideration for sure. These patrol unit leaders also participate in pre-camp, so that's an additional piece, but this gives you an opportunity to get to know the youth really well that are in your patrol and the youth that are in your unit. This may be the first time that you're meeting some of them is in a foreign country with a bunch of brand new kids to you. Your role is the commitment to lead and ensure the physical and mental health and safety of the youth in your patrol and in your unit. And as I mentioned, we can't guarantee that we will have sufficient units for all applications. So we will give you the opportunity to change over to an IST. And if you choose not to because you had your heart set on being a PUL, then at that moment in time, you will have that one-time opportunity to refund, and that will be a full refund. So that's one of the only times there's a full refund is if the position you applied for is not available to you. And as an IST, you get to help make this event a success. As I mentioned, you are what makes this a success. Without our volunteers across the board, there wouldn't be a Jamboree. So you might be offered jobs as in a Canadian position, such as Food House, if that's something that really interests you. Or you can, once the list comes out, you can pick from one of those lists. If you're looking at being an international service team member, please pay attention to when those lists come out because you don't want to be one of the last ones to choose. Or you might end up in a security aspect or something of those natures or a job that you're just not interested in. So there's that. You will arrive before and leave after the participants, but there is definitely opportunities to apply for roles that complement your skills and interests. So there will be some training given, but you can really make a difference with some of what people are bringing to the table. You can make a difference in this event. There will also be separate IST program. We just don't have all the details on that right now. And this is an awesome photo in the corner of our patrols coming into camp or leaving camp. I do believe that's leaving camp and they were exhausted by then. So.
No, it's sheer enjoyment on the face. That's all that is. Yeah.
I think he looks exhausted. All right. Yes. So this is one commitment that we are making to everybody that everybody in our contingent is that this Jamboree is for the youth. So we commit to ensuring that every element of our Jamboree fees will ensure they have this once in a lifetime experience. It is theirs and your hard-earned money. It's not ours. So we are making that commitment to ensure that we are good stewards of money, that we are abiding by what is being put out, and that we are returning anything that ends up being extra in the end. This particular event, as Jeff and Laura will allude to, is a little bit more expensive, but we are actively trying to keep that number down. Okay, do you guys want to talk to that one?
Yep. Yeah, we can tackle this one. So in conjunction with Laura, our amazing finance person, we're hard at work right now working on setting the budget and anticipated fees that are going to be part of the World Scout Jamboree. We know this is going to be an interesting topic you're going to want more information for, and as soon as we do settle on that, we'll have the information for you. The one thing we are committing to in this, we're looking to hopefully match or come close to previous Jamborees. So to give you a ballpark, you can go and look at the previous Jamboree information that's out there. Again, it's in a little bit of a higher bracket than some of the other events that you may see for other Canadian Jamborees or other areas from there. And we are very cognizant that there's the additional cost that comes with this for this once in a lifetime opportunity for participants to be able to join the Jamboree here. We also realize that a lot of them right now are between 12 to 14 years old right now, or sorry, 13 to 15 years old right now, who the idea of fundraising and all the costs on the long-term requirement for that is going to be a hard concept to kind of wrap their heads around right now. So as soon as we do come up with the information, we'll let you know what that's going to be. But our commitment in here is to make sure we're not going to be throwing it out of the ballpark from what we had in there. As you know, there's different components that come into this, such as the Jamboree fees themselves. And we can tell you right now that for this Jamboree, the Jamboree fees have doubled from what the previous one was in South Korea for reference. And the one thing we want to do too is to give you a breakdown on what's going to be making up the different fees to give you some transparency here. So to give you an idea, we split them down based on the participants and the patrol unit leaders that are going to be in place and the ISTs, because they've got different roles and responsibilities that are going to be part of what their activities are going to be doing in here. So to give you an idea of where the breakdown is, you can see the majority of the costs are going to be involved are the Jamboree fees. Again, they're double what they were for their previous Jamboree, which unfortunately has an effect on the pricing as well as travel. We all know it is very expensive these days for traveling, especially to Europe when it's going to be a summertime event. And not just that, but you've got 46,000 people who are also going to be traveling it at the time. What I can tell you is that we have looked at the fees that are being proposed by the other contingents, including the European contingents, and we're pretty comparable to what they're looking for, even though they're locally based in Europe for a lot of theirs. In fact, some of them aren't offering transportation back or some other items there too. The other areas that come into our cost, and you can see we've got 14% for pre-camp that the participants and the patrol unit leaders will be attending. This is that pre-camp in Europe that's going to be planned. An amazing adventure. The great benefit of being in Europe is there's so many close countries that are easy to travel to before and after there. So our commitment to have a wonderful pre-camp. We've got our administration fees, that is the preparation costs, fees such as registration systems, our health and safety as well, which is very key for the safe scouting that we have in here. Then we've got the kit and merchandise. That breaks down to essentially your Jamboree outfit, your gear, your neck, your shirt, all those different aspects that are going to be provided to you. We're very excited that we'll hopefully be able to give you a preview in a couple of months of what that might look like, as well as the Jamboree logo. I did see a question of that. We do not have an official logo. I should also mention, I think I put this on the first slide. Please don't take any of the logos, again, the Canadian WJ27 Contingent Canadian, and base anything on that. That's an ad hoc logo that was just created to allow us to do quick presentations on here. That's not our official logos we have here. But again, we're looking forward to working with our youth ambassadors to find out exactly what they're looking for. What would be the most valuable for them, and what would they be able to use not only at the Jamboree, but after the Jamboree as well for the kit and merchandise in there. The program, this is what Susie was talking about when it comes down to our Culture Day, the International Day within there. It's going to be the theme of our Canadian contingent. It's going to help for our program they're going to be having for the Culture Day. And then, probably no surprise to anybody, we've of course put in risk provision in here. The reason being is the event itself is, well, at this point I can say 2 years and 2 months kind of away from this point right now, 3 months almost. So there's different uncertainties that could happen. It could be currency fluctuations. It could be market costs. Again, travel could change drastically then too. So we want to make sure that in whatever fee we're going to be setting, that we account for that risk so that at no point do we have to come back to you and change that fee structure. In fact, hopefully at some point we will be able to identify what the final cost is going to be and whether we need to charge the full fee or not as we go through the process here. Insurance, that's another bucket we have in here that was done for South Korea specifically. The benefit of this one is we are in a foreign country. We don't know what's going to happen, whether we're going to have some travel interruptions. There's always a chance of that. It could be luggage delays. It could be EROPS, essentially, misconnection on a flight. We want to make sure that whatever happens for the travel side, that we have proper insurance coverage for our members, but also for the health side. We're talking the physical and mental safety of all the participants, not just our participants, but also the adults that are attending, whether they're patrol unit leaders, they're IST members. So if anything should happen there, we want to make sure that we're able to get immediate help and address anything that occurs there. So we will be providing insurance for all members, regardless of what type of insurance you may currently have for international coverage. It makes it a lot simpler when an incident occurs for us to be able to have our communal insurance that can be directly given to hospital medical officials, airlines, anything like that, to immediately deal with it, rather than discovering later on that for whatever particular incident or item had happened in there your particular insurance didn't have, or that we need now to interrupt parents back home in a 7-hour time difference and acquire more information on there. So that's what we've planned into our fees here. You notice the only thing that's really different between the participants and the patrol unit leaders, between the participants and the ISTs is the pre-camp, because ISTs will be going directly to the Jamboree site, again, 2 days in advance and 2 days after the participants to help with the setup and preparation of the site there. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into what is going to be setting our fees. Again, we're hoping to either match or not exceed greatly our previous Jamboree kind of thresholds that we've had in there. And we do hope to have that information for you over the coming weeks so that you can prepare for that as we go through. Timeline. Susie, I can speak to this, or you can if you want to.
Yeah, so you will be seeing in your volunteer newsletters, both from L'Association and also from Scouts Canada, that our dates for our sessions in June are set. So those will come out. Again, there'll be a bilingual central, there'll be a Western, and then there will be a French one. So that will be great. There will be a central location to find all of your information. Currently, that is Facebook. Do pay attention to that as much as you can. As soon as we do have our fees approved from both NSOs, we will publish that. We won't hold that up until the June webinars. We will publish that once we know it. We are very open to sharing as much information as we can and as we have it. We're not going to, again, we're not going to wait until that June webinar. Once we have something, we will post it out there. Registration will currently open July 1st. That is our target. And there will be a limited number of early bird spaces. So we have to give that number into Poland, and there will be a limited number of early bird spaces that will happen. And those early bird spaces, once they're filled, will move to general registration. It is, Laura and Jeff can correct me, but it is about $150 or so difference between early registration and regular registration.
That's correct. Yeah. So just for reference, the Jamboree fees will be paid in the Polish zloty, which is massively fluctuating, as you can imagine, with current markets right now. So Laura, our wonderful finance lead, has been every day keeping up to date on that. But yes, about $150 for the participants in PULs, about $134, I think it was most recently for the ISTs would be the early bird discount.
So that's our mission to all of you on this call, is that the fees will come out in the next couple of weeks with a payment structure, with the refund policies, with all of that will happen in the month of June, with registration opening July 1st. And then initial deposits will have to be made in August, because our first payment to Poland on all of the early registrations is actually September 1st. So they are very organized at this event. They have a very structured system. As I mentioned, their early birds are only for the month of June, so we will be going in with a number. Their initial payments are September 1st. We can only move our number by 10% this time. So they're just extremely set in exactly what they are doing, that I feel very confident in how this is going to run, but it also means that we have to be very on top of each and every one of our deadlines in order to give you guys all the service you deserve and get our numbers as high as we can as a contingent. So how can you help? So there is different ways that we will be putting a call out. We have not put this call out yet. This will probably happen next week after our entire CMT has our first meeting. But there will be a call going out for council ambassadors. So similar to the 2015 and 2019 models, where we had representation from each council to help us publicize, help the contingent publicize. We will put together those presentations and give you some speaking notes that you can use to help us and help everybody across the contingent. The more information we can get out there, the better off everybody is. I really don't want somebody to say that they didn't know anything about the event. The more information we give, the better. and just being that open side. Also, one of the great things that was also at 15, 19, and 23 was our youth. So our youth ambassadors who did some social media takeovers, we are really looking for, we will be putting a call out for those people as well, who can help us sell this to those youth that are their age, or the youth ambassadors could be rovers as well, because they might have gone to the last jamboree. So they're passionate about communicating on social channels. They're more connected with those age groups, and they can really talk about what they enjoyed at the last event as well. So those calls will go out to those for those positions, and ultimately, the more youth we get signed up to this event, the larger the support system that we can build to help everybody have an amazing time. It really is an energetic and amazing experience for everybody that attends, but it's made so much better if we can have the proper support systems in place within the contingent. So look for those two calls. Again, they won't be out until probably next week or a little bit later. And we're here to help you with that communication. This way you're not left to figure out how to communicate, how to publicize and what to say. We will ensure that's given out to everybody up front. So those are two things. We will also be looking potentially at a few areas within our contingent management team that may be looking for some extra assistance in the French or in the youth aspect. So we really want to ensure that we're really bringing in the youth side to most of our decision making.
I can speak to this one. Susie mentioned we are planning our next information session, so they'll be coming up in June. These are the ones we'll have the final details right before registration is planned to open on July 1st here. So you can see in here, we've got 3 different sessions that are planned. These are all the same information across them. We're starting off on Monday, June 20th with a 7 p.m. Pacific time for the West Coast. On Tuesday, June 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have a French session as well on Thursday, June 23rd for everybody to be able to attend. Our goal here is to give you all the key information. As Susie mentioned, as soon as we get more details, we'll continue to release them on our Facebook channel. And we're looking to have a central repository where everybody can stay up to date, find the latest information on there. But this will probably be a little bit longer session than this one, probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours, because we will be going into a lot more details to make sure that you have the information and you feel comfortable enough to go in and prepare for your applications. Whether you're looking to apply as an IST, Patrol Unit Leader, or IST, this is going to be your best chance to be able to come in, get that key information for yourself or to share. Did I have the wrong dates? I think I actually might have put the wrong dates in there, didn't I?
You did.
Wow.
That's okay. We'll fix that up, but don't pay attention to those dates. Watch for your newsletter from l'Association and also from Scouts Canada. The real dates are in there with links, so you will be good. They will be in there. And the Eastern one, so the Ottawa one is I go by Ottawa just because it's the central is it's not central, it's Eastern is actually going to be bilingual, so we will ensure that we have both translations there so that we're covering everybody that we can, and as by as many means as possible. The whole point here is that we are getting as much information out to all of you, and doing 3 a month is this month and probably again in September, just so that we can get more information out to you guys, and then we will start to settle into a different routine after that, whether it's just one bilingual one every month. We'll figure that out and what that metric will be, but currently it's very much about getting as much out there as we can so that we can make this an amazing contingent. And now the dates are fixed. Look at that.
Yes, the magic of live editing and when you have
go.
the presentation. So there's actually a great question that just came in, which was how do you sign up for the newsletter? There's 2 different ways to get stay up to date with the information right now, you might have seen in both the SC and ASC newsletters recently that there's been a push to fill the expression of interest form. You can see the link here. You can scan the QR code, or again, we'll make sure that this is posted on our Facebook page. This is where you can fill in your interest of attending the Jamboree, whether it is again as a PUL, an IST, or as a participant, to give us an idea of who's interested, potentially numbers if you are part of a group looking to bring some youth with you as well. But it is essentially how we're compiling our initial list of with that expression of interest there. Or again, we've got our Facebook page for you to follow for more details on there. So if you do want to get in the newsletter, please make sure that you have filled in expression of interest. If you have over the past 3 months, you don't need to go in and do it again. We have had some duplication occasionally within there. But again, it lets us know what you have. We also are setting up a newsletter system as well to allow you to do self-subscription to it as well in the coming future. And what we'd love to do now is, that is the gist of our presentation. Again, nothing different, nothing new from what we had last week there. But we would love to open up the floor to any questions that anybody might have. I know there's a bunch in the Q&A that the amazing team has been going through and answering as we go through. If you do have any questions, please you put them in the chat in the Q&A, or if you'd like to ask them on audio, if you raise your hand, we'll elevate you to be a presenter and unmute you so that you can ask your question directly to us. And again, the Q&A you can ask directly, or if you prefer to remain anonymous, you can do so as well.
Just a few questions that are in the chat are the PULs. So basically, once you're a PUL, a patrol unit leader, you will then start working with your patrol unit, with your patrol. You'll start having regular meetings with your youth so that they'll be online potentially, so you get to know them. You'll be set up with your Jamboree unit as well, so there'll be 4 patrols matched up. And the expectation is then those patrol unit leaders will then match up and have regular get-togethers monthly with their entire unit to, again, start to get to know each other so that you're understanding personalities, you're working on kit lists, you're working on what different personalities and playing games and just really getting to know each other before the event. So great question from Agnieszka. How participants will be selected? 500 for Canada is not that many spots. If we can get 500, that would be pretty amazing for an international event for us. We actually haven't had a Canadian contingent to a World Jamboree of that size leaving the continent. So this would be a pretty amazing number if we can hit the number that we are targeting for. Absolutely. And it's going to take a very large amount of people to assist us in getting those numbers out there. But it is a mission we have. We are very different than Iceland because Iceland's fees are a little bit lower and they have, and they just have a very different structure. Whereas for this one, when you're looking in that 6,000 plus range per participant, it's a little bit more difficult. We are also our patrols are composite patrols, so we get a lot of patrols that are mixed youth from different groups. It's not the same as taking just your group with you somewhere. You are often matched up with other youth from we try to match you up with the same area as much as we can within your patrol. But for instance, we had patrols last time where there were 9 kids and the scouter wasn't even from that council. They happened to be from another council because there weren't enough PULs from that individual council and so on. So it's a very different aspect to it. And yes, thank you, Xavier. Korea was 377 Canadians. Again, the 14 to 17 range for youth is a bit of a harder stop. The other ones like your Iceland, Harlem, those have a much larger age pool that they pull from. And they're also group based. So you're going with your group to Harlem, you're going with your group to Iceland. Here you're registering as an individual. Like Xavier registered, he's in the chat here talking about Korea. He registered as an individual from Sherbrooke, Quebec, and was placed into a unit and into a patrol. So did not register as with his group, registered as an individual. So that's a really large difference with this particular event, which is why our numbers aren't usually as high as some of the other ones. Also goes back to the patrol unit leaders. You could have 5 patrol unit leaders apply from the same group. Only one might become a patrol unit leader and the other 4 might have to be ISTs. You're not necessarily going to be, we don't have patrols with 4 adults and 5 kids. We aren't allowed to do that. That's not how the structure of the Jamboree is set up. So we need to follow some of those structure pieces. Again, that's what makes us different than these other events, but it's also a different experience for these kids. It's larger. This event is 50,000 people. Every other event is much smaller. Iceland, we were most of the event last time. So it's keeping all of that stuff into perspective as we look at this, is the experience is just so different, but very, very amazing. I don't know if Xavier wants to come off mute and talk a little bit about that side, but it is a different experience when you're looking at this event and the amount of people and how close you are to things, as compared to other events. And I know he's attended some other ones. So I don't know how to unmute you, but I'm certain that Jeff can do that, Xavier.
Yep, on the way here. Let me just go here. You should be able to unmute yourself.
All right,
now.
perfect. Yeah, I'm muted
Great.
now. Yeah, so definitely, I mean, I've been to Korea and I've been to the Essex International Jamboree last year and I'm planning to go to Scotland next year. And I can say that Korea is different. For one, as Susie said, you register as an individual, which I think is really eye-opening, and it's great because you get to meet a whole bunch of other people, not only from different countries, but also from different areas of Canada. For example, in my patrol is mostly youth from BC and then a couple other people from Alberta and whatnot in my unit. So it was really great, and I got to make friends not only from other countries, but also from within the same country that I've then been able to reconnect with and see at other times. And also, the other thing is the scale. You don't get anything close to it. It's 50,000 people. That's bigger than many towns and small cities. It's a big event, and I think honestly it's just great because you can walk 5 minutes, meet people from 7 different countries.
Thank you for that.
Fantastic. And one thing I'll mention too that makes it a little bit different is, Susie mentioned this a lot when we're talking about the age range of, July 30, 2009, July 30, 2013 within here. With the World Scout Jamboree, the majority of the restrictions, such as, again, the size of patrols, the number of patrol unit leaders, adults that are allowed per patrol, is set by WSUM, not by us. So there's a lot of areas in here where, again, we appreciate the questions, some of the feedback, concerns you might have, but a lot of these, again, are outside of our control, and they put these in place to make sure that it is fairly done across all National Scout organizations across the world, essentially participate in here. The other aspect is, other than the actual Jamboree planning team, where there's different roles at the Jamboree level itself, nobody's allowed to apply as an IST, patrol unit leader, or participant to the Jamboree itself. You must do that through your country's contingent to be able to attend the event in here, which again is one of the reasons why we're being very diligent in how we're setting up the CMT, as well as planning for the budget and the Jamboree fees we have here to accommodate that.
Any other questions or concerns? Definitely put your hand up. We can unmute you if you want to ask your question live. We have that ability right now as well.
I just see a great question coming in from Andrea here, that her son is really keen to go. He turns 18 in May 2027, is wanting to sign up as an IST. Wondering what kind of experience he would have as a young volunteer.
Yeah, I was just responding to that one. So
oh, never mind.
We're working on a great idea for that age group, because we want to see as many of them as possible. Really, they are the generation that will have either just attended the last one or have some really great ideas and that awesome connection with the youth. So they can apply as ISTs. We are ensuring that we have support systems in place. And honestly, they have such a great experience. They just have to connect with other people. We will have a Discord channel set up for once they register with the contingent. So they'll be able to start connecting with people across their age group. And also, just from being in the IST campground, I was the deputy subcamp chief for the offer of service subcamp in 2019. And the young people do start to connect with each other and they get to know each other. And the evening aspect where they're out at the little coffee place, they called it the chat and chew is what they call it there. So places where they can just get together and trade badges, meet people. There's a dance area, there's stage areas, there's so many aspects for people. And definitely, if they're willing to get up and talk to people and meet people, it's an amazing experience. Definitely worth it. And we are working on a good support system so that they have people that they can connect with and really have a great time. But as well, that having that support system to ensure that they check their Discord, they're paying attention to their email, they are watching to see when the jobs get posted so that they get a job that they like. Because the other side is some of us some of us who are not just turning 18 might check our email a little more often than our 18 to 25 or 18 to 30-year-olds. So we are putting in some supports to ensure they get applications in for those positions and that they are getting all the information they need. I hope that helps, Andrea, but definitely there will be lots of people in that age category for sure.
And a question came in from Jeff Benau saying, so to be clear, a group of four scouts and 2 scouters would apply individually and potentially be placed in 6 different patrols or units. Am I understanding that right? No. What we will definitely do, again, the idea of composite patrols would be, if you do have 4 scouts coming in, we will group them together so that they can be, they know each other, can support each other. If, again, you've got 4 and essentially the 9 youth there could be 5 additional members that, again, maybe 5 members from another scouting group that'll be joined in with yours. Well, we do try to keep the youth together. As for the scouters, again, most patrols will have 1 scouter, unless, again, there's a specific reason why there may be an additional scouter required within there. But one of the restrictions put in place by the Poland Jamboree this year is they're being very strict about the kind of 9-to-1 ratio that we have in there, just so that when it comes down to the number of adults in there, they don't want it to be a primarily adult patrol that we have in there. Is something that they're currently reviewing the process that we would have to go through to request having more than 1 adult in a patrol. So we're still discovering what exactly that's going to be. But at this time, again, we're looking at essentially having the youth with 1 patrol unit leader per patrol.
Yeah, and the other ones they're called carers. They're not called extra patrol leaders. They're called carers. And we are looking at those options as well as how many we do put in there. We understand the ratios within Scouts Canada, and we also understand that as patrol unit leaders, there's going to come a point that I know there's a few of you on here that were patrol unit leaders in previous jamborees where you're going to need a break, you're going to need to go deal with something, what have you, that we need to have those support systems in place as well. So those there are options. We're just working out how that will play out, and also how we work with the jamboree to label our patrol unit leaders accordingly.
And if everybody wants to put up their hand, we can unmute if you'd like to ask any further questions as well. I see there are still some more trickling into the Q&A.
For M-Sitters, you talked about, can you be a PUL and opt to travel after with your children participants? Yes, you can, absolutely. We just tag that through as part of the deviations for travel. So definitely, I can see that Rob put that in there, but it is an option, and it's a great option to stay afterwards and actually see the country. It's definitely something there. We just are not letting, we're just not looking at it being a pre-trip. We're looking at it being, you can do a post-trip with your family. So those little pieces, as Rob mentioned, will be fleshed out later, but it is definitely something to keep in mind. And honestly, an amazing way to do it. That's what myself, my daughter, and my mother did for Korea. We stayed an extra week afterwards and got to actually see more of the country together. So, and when you're in Europe, it's so easy to travel around.
Tom had a great question about, where will everything be distributed for the meetings? Right now, the recordings will be posted to the Facebook page. We didn't post last week's because we wanted to get this week's done as well to see which is going to be the better recording, since it's the exact same information shared across the two. But we'll have it posted on our Facebook page. We're still looking at, again, a central repository to contain everything, a nice little website. We're still kind of waiting the official approval to get that all set up. But for now, please do follow our Facebook page, as that's where the majority of the information is going to be posted.
So the only other thing I will say about patrols is if you were to have 12 kids or 10 kids, then we would have a discussion about the distribution of those youth. Is it a 9 and 1, so one kid could go somewhere else, or will we be breaking them up 5 and 5? We will try to have those discussions if there's a PUL chosen. We will try to have those open dialogues with the units as much as possible. And if you're chosen to be a PUL, that will also come into play when we're looking at numbers. So that's usually when we'll have to break up a unit or break up a patrol into 2 from the same group. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up in the same unit, just separate patrols. So different things to keep in mind, but anything under 9, we try to keep in the exact same patrol, unless it's a backfill. So just keep that in mind, is if after the registration deadline ends and somebody is on the wait list, if they end up being, if they end up getting registering, we have to place them wherever there is an opening in the contingent. We can't move people around in patrols in order to make them fit. So once things are closed and everything is settled in the patrols, we can't make changes very easily. So that's the only time that that things might be a little harder on those youth. But we did have some for Korea who it worked out really well for, and they had a fantastic experience, even though they were a lone venture in a unit of kids they just met. So it's still a great experience, and that's why it's the 14 to 17 age group. Is they do have a little bit more life skills in the way that they're a little more adaptable to being able to do a lot of these things. Yeah. So
some great questions came in, actually. One that just came in from Anonymous: is there potential subsidy for lower income families? Yes. As part of our budget planning, we are essentially going to have a Jamboree No One Left Behind. There'll be further details about that in our June webinar when we talk about that.
It's part of the financial approvals we're waiting on right now.
Yeah.
For sure. And we'll have details on how much those subsidies could be if you were to apply for them.
But it's definitely one of our key considerations. Again, understanding that this is priced higher than a lot of the other events that are out there. So thank you for that question. One other question that came in from Don B was, oh, never mind. I think Rob's been busy answering the question there. Oh, George has. Perfect. Yes, it was a question about, what if you have a special needs youth, can you add another leader? Which was a great question.
That's where they're called carers, and that's where, as Poland they would like to know more details on what the carers are for, so that they can ensure that they have the right support systems in place at the event.
One of the things we'll talk about next month, again, is the application process. We'll have more details about what information we're going to be requesting, because one of the key aspects of this is not just, again, for the youth, but also the adults, to make sure that we're taking care of your physical and the mental health of everybody who's in there too, and that we're making this as accessible as possible to everybody. So we'll have more details on the information we'll be requesting as part of the application process that'll help to identify anything that we would help an individual be able to attend. And I think we've got most of the questions answered now that seem to be slowing down, and Rob's been doing an amazing job manning the chat there. I don't know, Rob, is there anything that you saw come through that you'd like to call out directly, not just have the answer in the Q&A?
No, I was going through it there. I don't think we've had anything that hasn't been addressed by you guys as we went.
Fantastic. Well, I appreciate everybody staying. We're about 4 minutes past our planned time, which is fantastic. If you do have any additional questions, please raise your hand. You can drop them in the chat, the Q&A. We'll give it another minute just to see if anything comes in. I know this is a lot of information to absorb. So again, we'll try to get the recording up for you to refer back to, for you to share with others in the Scouts Canada and Association to Scouts membership, so that they can get the key details. And again, for June, we will have more information for you prior to opening up the registration process. And our commitment to you is, again, not only making sure that we're taking consideration of this being a use once in a lifetime experience in every decision we make here, but that as information is ready for you, we'll post it on our different channels, starting with, again, our Facebook, and keep an eye on there as we open up additional channels too, and hopefully a good website for you to be able to refer back to and direct others to as you go in.
Susie, just to confirm, the email is wsj2027@scouts.ca, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. That's in the chat there. You can also send us an email whenever you'd like.
Yeah. So watch the socials for the call out for youth ambassadors. Watch for the call out for council ambassadors as well. Those will make a huge difference in how we run. Also, put those dates in your calendars for when you get the volunteer newsletters for the webinars in June. Those are super important webinars because, again, those will have our fee structures, our payment dates, our refund information. We will have information on a Christmas store that's coming out, buy some swag to help the contingent, and also showcase a little bit about the event. We should potentially have a logo and some other aspects. So really great information. We're piling it into the June because that's when we hope to have most of our other approvals into us, so we can push out all of that information. And we should have some more information from Poland as well by the time those dates hit to us. So thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I really appreciate that. And I hope everybody got a lot out of this. And do continue to ask your questions. We're here to answer anything that you have. And we will see you guys in June on either the 23rd, 24th, or 26th.
So just see the one question come in from Jeff there about, realistically, how do you think someone can register?
How late, I think it was.
Yes.
And I think we were aiming, Susie, I think it was, we're going to fill it out in June with some final dates, but it was probably within 8 to 12 months of us opening up registration on the 1st of July.
So it's going to depend on what number we decide to go in with. So it will be we will have a date. We're opening July 1st, so probably we'll close by the end of May 2026 at the latest, or when we fill all of our spaces. So they're very, we can only grow by or decrease by 10%, and that's April 1st of next year. We can make that 10% change. So we will, that's when we will be having to solidify that number and decide, are we increasing or decreasing? But basically once we fill our spaces, or the end of May next year, but there will potentially, it'll depend how quickly they fill up. It's exciting. And I think that if everything works out financially, I can see this being really quite an amazing adventure. And we are putting together the 2 Christmas stores. So we're putting together one for this Christmas of swag that you can purchase, similar to last time. So we'll have one this time and next Christmas. There'll also be opportunities to buy extra kit, which will also assist assist our contingent in bringing down our fees. And we have a number of people who have come forward to assist in partnerships and working on pieces of the kit to ensure that we get good value for money and to bring those costs down as well. So actively really trying to do that as much as we can. And I think that if we can do that, I think everybody benefits from this adventure.
Susie, I have a question that came in here. I assume the answer is yes, but they're asking if we'd be giving any updates or warnings when we were getting close to
yes.
a number being hit. I think we would be very well communicative on that one. Absolutely.
We will definitely be keeping, we will be doing it on socials, on our website, and on our Instagram. Also, those 3 aspects. There will be lots of publicity that goes out when we are coming close to that number. And also we will keep track and keep people. There's a really great ticker basically that a few of the contingents have done when their numbers are going up. So we may institute that here to kind of continue to gain that that excitement across our entire one Canadian contingent. So it's yes. I would really love to see a large number, but it is a little harder for our type of event. But I think we can still do it. I think there's enough people out there that are of that age and have seen some photos of Korea, have seen some stuff from the 2019 Jamboree, have been to an international event, and can speak to how exciting this will be. So the only one thing that we didn't put in here is that our adult number cannot be higher than our youth number. So when it comes to the application portion is our, we need to get our youth numbers up in order to be able to take more adults in the end. So that's one thing that another World Jamboree aspect is they don't allow the adult number to get higher than the youth number from any contingent. So I forgot to mention that earlier on one of the slides. That does include ISTs. That is every adult member across the entire contingent. So if we have 200 youth, we can't have 201 adults. We can only have 199 adults. So that's how that works, and it's across the entire contingent. All of the Canadian contingent, we have to have more youth than adults across. Does that answer your question, Thomas? Perfect.
Great.
All right. Any other questions? Any hands? Thank you to those. Thank you to those in the East who are on this call tonight. It's pretty late for you guys. Thank you. And for those of you off to the West, you have a little bit more of your night to you. So Jeff Bano, he'll need to be.
Yeah. Let me go add him there. All right, Jeff, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Sorry, I maybe I'm going ahead here, but
Oh, it's good.
I am curious. I don't think anything was mentioned here about what gear people take on to a World Jamboree. Is it like is everybody cooking and
Great
tenting?
question.
I assume.
Yeah.
So you'll be bringing your own personal gear. That's all you'll be bringing with you. Even as a youth, you bring your own personal gear. And then you're supplied with the kitchen shelter. If you're at the unit, they supply you with a kitchen shelter and all the cooking stuff. And then you cook as a unit or as a patrol in there. If you're an IST, an offer of service, then there's a great big dining hall. So that's where you eat. There's usually shower systems, and they had laundry in Korea. Unsure what this one will have, but probably something similar. So again, you're just bringing your own stuff. We are working out some logistics when it comes to the tent situation, because that is different for this Jamboree than it was for the previous 2. But more will be known on that as we try to work with some other contingents and we work on the best method for that particular aspect. Whether that means that each person is bringing one, that seems highly improbable because it's just a lot of tents. Whereas if we look at partnerships or other aspects, we will get a better deal and it'll work out better for the contingent. So we're still working on that one, but yeah, you're basically just bringing your own personal stuff with you that you need to get through. And we will also put together a kit list and a full handbook for you. So it's, yeah, you can still search the Jamboree from 2023 and there's a handbook in there to, if people want to read up on a few different aspects, we will be recreating that handbook so that it's all Poland or 2027 Poland Jamboree centric. But it does give you a basic idea of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Last call, anybody else? I think we had a number of them drop off a little while ago. So
I think we did, yes. Yeah, we do like to
awesome.
talk sometimes.
Again, thank you, everybody. Send your questions in. Keep us informed. We will keep you informed, and we will see you in June.
Thanks, everyone.
Night.